Hi everyone, welcome back or welcome to my channel, depending on if you're new here. My name is Sandy, and today I am back with my 1001 book countdown. Let's jump right in. If you're not familiar with the 1001 book countdown, you can go check out my BookTube Newbie Part 2 video where I go through and talk all about the concept and lots and lots of details, probably way too many. But for today, we're actually just going to go ahead and put up where I left off last week, which was $9.99 and $33, and the 33 refers to my 52-week book list for 2021, and the $9.99 is where I'm at on my 1001 countdown. So it's still pretty early in the countdown, but hoping making some good progress. This week's a good one. Okay, so the first book that I read for my 1001 countdown is Silence by Shusaku Endo. So I picked this book up as part of the Asian Readathon, and this is a Japanese author. This book is about two Portuguese Jesuit priests who travel to 17th century Japan to minister to the Christians there at a time when Christianity has been completely and totally outlawed. So they're often having to minister in secret. They are moved around a bunch, and they are basically hunted as far as the samurais and the Japanese government trying to find them to squash any effort to bring Christianity. So there's obviously a lot of religious content in this, which is not necessarily something I read all the time, but I really did enjoy this book. The first part of the book talks about him writing letters back to the mainland, or back to Portugal, and that part was a little bit harder, but once it transitioned to him and him speaking from his perspective, it became just a really good story. It is hard to read in places because of how they persecute both the people who are Christians there and the priests, and they have to make some very difficult decisions about whether or not they continue or they renounce their faith, and it is a very moving book. It's also been made into a movie, which I have seen, which I thought was just kind of but this book here is book number 999. So I get to drop that number to 998. Unfortunately, it is not on my 52-week 2021 list, so I don't get to drop the bottom number, but I do get to drop the first number, which is yay. So the second book that I picked up for the 1001 countdown was actually Norwegian Wood by Haruki Murakami. And as I do whenever I pick up any new book that I haven't read yet, when I'm trying to decide what I read next, I read about 10% of it to see if it's one that's really going to grab me, or if I'm in the mood to kind of read that one. So I have obviously a lot of books to read. I can, pick and choose. And I said, oh, okay, I'm into the character now. I'm invested. And I went to go update my Goodreads, and it's not on the 1001 book list. Yeah, I just apparently made that up in my head that it was. And so I did end up reading it. Not only was it not on my 1001 book list, it wasn't on my Goodreads list at all as a one to read. So I don't know where I got that book from, but I did actually end up reading it, but I'm not going to talk about it anymore today than I already have. I'm just annoyed that I did that. So, it is what it is. That's the part of the problem with reading so many books off of this list, or having such a large list to read. Sometimes you just frankly forget what is and is not on that list. So lesson learned. I will try and do better next time. So the next book, though, that was on the 1001 book list that I did read is Austerlitz by W.G. Sebald. I had selected this one, drew this one for my TBR for May, and I was able to get through this book. It is the story of Austerlitz. When you first meet him, the story is told through a different person's perspective. Much of the story is actually told through the different person's perspective, but it's a little bit later in Austerlitz's life. And then what happens is you start going back to when Austerlitz was a child, when he was shipped out of the part of Europe that he lived in, and to escape persecution from World War II and from Jewish Jewish persecution. And so when he goes to the other location, he is given a new name. And then once that family is no longer in his life, he's given his original name, which is Austerlitz. And so much of the story is him trying to find the origins of his name, trying to find family who might be around still, tracking the path back to see what happened to them. So parts of it are very distressing. When you think about World War II and the Holocaust, I did make it through this book, and I'm saying it that way because this is a stream of consciousness novel, or what I believe is what you call a stream of consciousness novel. It is just a continual line of text with no real breaks in it, which is something I personally struggle with quite a bit when I'm reading. So I am giving it 3 stars on Goodreads because I did actually make it all the way through it, and I did enjoy it for the most part. I had to get the audiobook and the physical book so I could combine, or it was an ebook, combine it at the same time. And with audio sync, I was able at times to read and listen at the same time. One call out for this: if you do the audiobook, the physical book has some illustrations in it, some photographs of the architecture that are nice. I don't know how much they fully added to my enjoyment of the story, but it was something that if you don't have that, you will miss that in that particular book. But it is on my 1001 book list. So we're going to go from 998 to 997, and it is on my 2021 list. So this goes now from 33 to 32. Yay! Okay, hopefully I don't forget these numbers midstream, and because I don't have them up when I'm recording. But the next book, and I do have another book, so I'm hitting 3 this week, which is really, really good, is Animals, People by Indra Sinha. So this book as well was one I had picked for my Asian readathon, where it features an Asian protagonist. And so this one is all about a person whose name is Animal. So Animal got his name kind of thrust upon him. He describes it as it stuck like mud to him. And then after that, he just pretty much owns that name and just says, no, I'm not human, I'm an animal. He goes around on all 4s because of a horrific chemical spill that happened in the city that he lives in, and it twisted his back to where he could no longer stand up straight. So he is always moving on all 4s, which is why they started calling him Animal. As a young child, he ended up at an orphanage. He doesn't know who his parents are, who his family is, and he meets a nun there called Ma Francis, who basically becomes the only mother type character that he's ever known. And it is his story going through the city, trying to help fight against what they call the company, which is the people responsible for the actual spill. And he is a foul-mouthed character who absolutely obsesses about sex and wants to have sex, but he is very kind of likable in how he goes about things, and trying to fight this company and trying to get this girl he likes to like him back. And then a doctor comes to town who is offering free medicine to the community, and people don't trust her. They think she's with the company as their legal suit is going to court, and they think she is all with them. But she starts to give him hope that she can cure him. I did give this 4.5 stars on Goodreads because I just really, really liked this book. I did not give it 5 stars because it lost me about in the last 50 pages. I wish the ending had a little bit more, I don't know, resolution, but I didn't like the ending as much. But one of the reasons why I absolutely love this book is there are so many quotable lines in here, and it does talk about hope a lot. And one of the things in here that just really moved me is this line: hope dies in places like this because hope lives in the future, and there's no future here. How can you think about tomorrow when all your strength is used up trying to get through today? And that made me 100% think of what is going on in India right now with the lack of oxygen canisters and the people there that are just trying to survive. So given that this is an Indian author featuring an Indian protagonist, it is particularly moving. It is also very difficult. I did go and research. There is an actual event that happened in India that was very similar to this, though it didn't feature this character. I put a link to that event in my description if you're interested in it. I also put a link to a charity that Katie Books had referenced and that I have already contributed to. And I encourage you, if you can spare anything, to go support what's going on there, to help what's going on over there right now. Absolutely, it is something that I think is really, really worthwhile. But yeah, that line in this book, major feels, 4.5 stars, worth a read. It was shortlisted for the Man Booker Prize, and then it was the winner of the Commonwealth Writers Prize, Best Book Europe and South Asia. So it is a stunning tale of unforgettable character, animals, people, offers an unflinching look at what it means to be human, the wounds that never heal, and a spirit that will not be quenched. So worth your time. One of my new favorites, 4.5 stars. Check it out. But with that, we are at the countdown time again. So it is obviously on my 1001 list, so I get to take that from 998 to 997. And it was actually on my 2021 list, even though I didn't draw it for the 2021 read in May. So I get to take the bottom number down as well. And so that is the end. I did make it through 3 books this week off of my list, which is absolutely amazing. I hope you enjoyed this, and I plan to be back next week with another countdown. Till next time, everyone. Bye.